talking about episode 4 of American Horror Story Hotel. First off, I just want to say this was my favorite episode up until this point since, I would say, Asylum. Although there were some really good Coven episodes too. And a few Freak Show good episodes, but this one really stood out to me as like a really good episode. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people aren't gonna like this episode, even though it was so different for them, I feel. I will say it kind of came out of left field. It's supposed to be the Halloween episode, and it just kind of came out of nowhere with the whole serial killer dinner thing. And I know my friend John Michael wasn't a huge fan of this episode, so I'd love to hear your thoughts about this episode down below. Again, less sex, less Lady Gaga. I'm loving it. I knew it'd be better. I actually really like it now that it's kind of toned down all of that, all those elements. I don't think we saw Kathy B once in this episode, but I'm okay with that because this episode was really interesting and really awesome. I do have some critiques though for the show in general, and it's like really annoying to me, so we'll just start with that, shall we? So at the end of the episode we see Lady Gaga kiss and then turn the mother into a vampire, and I feel like this is their cop-out. They had this same cop-out in Coven with Misty being able to bring people back. They're doing that again, so whenever someone dies, oh, they can be a vampire. So really no character's ever gone for good, or no one's ever dead, really. And that honestly gets under my skin because it's like, we don't know when a character's actually going to die and stay dead. And I guess it keeps us on our toes, but the thing is that they don't really do that. They make everyone come back to life, become a vampire, whatever they need to do to not lose that character, and that just really annoys me. I think it would be better if death was an option and they treat it like it's not an option at all. So also in this episode we get to see the serial killer dinner. Now my friend was telling me about this episode before I had watched all of it. I had only seen half of it, and he was telling me about the dinner, and I was like, I need to go home and watch the rest of this episode right now. I personally have like an obsession almost with serial killers, and I think a lot of people who like the horror genre do. I think a lot of us find it fascinating, and we know a lot about it, probably more than the general public. And also being a psych major, that is something that I have considered studying specifically. I decided to go a different route, but it's so fascinating to me, and just from a psychological standpoint. So I thought it was really cool to see a lot of the famous serial killers come into play. Oh, and before I move on, can we talk about Lily Robb? I mean, oh my god. I'd already decided as soon as I saw her, I was like, that's my costume next Halloween. That's what I'm gonna be. It's like not even a question. That's what I'm going to be. I love her. This is based off of Real Serial Killer, which is also, there's a movie called Monster with Charlize Theron that portrays this character as well, or this serial killer as well. And so her character is inspired by that killer. And I actually kind of want to go further into depth and like research more about all these killers, even though I know a lot about Jeffrey Dahmer. He makes an appearance, well, not him himself, obviously, but he is a character in this. And is it okay to say he's my favorite serial killer? Is that like politically correct to be able to say that? I don't know. But he is. I loved reading about him and kind of studying him, and Charles Manson as well, but Charles Manson was not a part of this dinner because he has not quite left his mortal form, as they say. Gotta be dead to join the party. We have John Wayne Gacy come into play, who's the clown guy. And there's one serial killer that I'd never heard of, and that's the Ricky guy who opens the show. And I loved his character in the beginning and the death. And I need to just point out that we finally have some amazing gore and some like disturbing gore. I was so excited to see that in the beginning when Ricky comes in and smashes the guy's head in with a lamp. It's good. That's what I missed from American Horror Story, and I feel like we didn't get a lot of gore in Coven or Freak Show. So I'm glad to see some gore coming back because that was a huge part of Asylum. So I really, really love the gore aspect in this, and like the disturbing nature of towards the end of the dinner when they bring out dessert and there's a guy that they all get to like kill and they're all like stabbing him, and it's really, really disturbing. Hated the ending of the show though because Lady Gaga comes in and turns that lady into a vampire, as I mentioned. But because it was such a small part of the episode, I really didn't mind it as a whole. loved this episode. It had really nothing to do with the storyline of what's going on. It's just their Halloween episode, so it kind of, like I said, came out of nowhere. I don't know how much relevance the serial killer dinner really had. I think it's just for entertainment purposes for us viewers, which I really appreciate because I love it. And it's disturbing just conceptually because serial killers are disturbing, so I liked it. Now, one thing that my friend pointed out is that it's kind of glamorizing the serial killers. It makes you want to be there with them at the dinner and like they're having fun, which obviously we should not worship serial killers by any means. I just personally am fascinated by them. So to see them all at a dinner together, which the casting for that, by the way, was awesome. It was cool for me, and it's mostly because of my obsession with serial killers. It's not because I think they're awesome and like I want to be like them or, you know, support their work or whatever. It's not like that at all. They're awful human beings. I definitely wouldn't, you know, look up to them or be like, I just personally look at it from a standpoint as to why they do the things they do, and their personal reasoning for it is fascinating. So yes, it does kind of romanticize killing and like serial killers, but isn't that kind of all horror, or the genre as a whole? American Horror Story. I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it though down below, and John Michael, if you want to expand on that in the comments down below and share your thoughts on that, because I know you felt strongly about that and kind of explain it a little bit better than I did down below. That'd be great too. Overall, this season, 2 out of 4 episodes are really good for me, so that's a lot better than I can say about Freak Show. So far, it's actually doing really well in my book. Make sure to leave some movie requests down below, show requests, whatever you want to see. I'm definitely going to be working really hard for you guys in November and just, you know, forever, hopefully. And every time I say that, I jinx myself, but I'm going to work really hard because this channel is almost at 20,000 subscribers, and I just want to thank you for that, because to me, I'm more proud of that number than I am on my main channel, because so many people have beauty channels and fashion channels. Horror is such a niche market on YouTube. There's not a lot of us, so for me to get to 20,000 people of you guys watching me talk about horror is unbelievable. I think it's more rare, so that's why I'm so proud of it and couldn't do it without you guys. I really appreciate it. So make sure to leave lots of requests down below just so I can start making lists and we're gonna have some fun. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
It's a kind of horror that is worse than like in the movies.
You are going to die.